Hey, everybody, we're live. What's going on? How's it going, Jake?
It's good to be alive. So good to be alive.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Hello, Opa. Hello,
Hey.
Kristen in the chat. So how is it being a new dad? I guess you're not a new dad, but you have a new baby.
Yes, I am now a forefather of 4 daughters.
Our forefathers once told us.
Yes, it takes a lot of sleepless nights to get to this position, but yes. Anyways, yeah, man, it's going good. We had a beautiful girl, and trying to run on steam sleep-wise, but hey, we're alive and kicking. Still Watchmen on the wall with some interesting news clips and stuff for you guys this week. Hey, man, I hear we have some exciting news.
Oh, some very exciting news. So I'll just pull it up right here. Bryson Gray will officially be at TrutherCon October 25th and 26th. So get your early bird tickets now because they're going up in a couple days. So the prices, get your tickets now because the prices will be going up. So it's going to be epic, dude. We're going to have performers. We're going to have public speakers. I'm going to talk about JFK and where the brains were blown out and all that stuff. Sounds kind of gory when I said it like that, but yeah, it's going to be epic, dude.
That is awesome. I'm so stoked, man. I mean, we've been thinking it was going to happen ever since we talked to him out at Hebrew Fest this year. So it's super cool. We're going to have an awesome venue. We're going to have some really cool speakers, and then we're going to have this awesome set from Bryson. That's going to be sweet.
It's going to be very sweet. Awesome. And we'll have a little ad for you guys later on, so we'll save that for the end.
Very cool. Well, hey, what do you guys want to get into next? I know, Opa, you have a couple videos for us this week. What do you got for us?
Well, let's start off with nuclear reactors going to the moon.
Take you now to the moon, where the Trump administration has a new plan to build a nuclear reactor. The space race is back, and this time it's nuclear.
Get off the nuclear warhead.
But not like that. Acting NASA Administrator Sean Duffy is set to announce the agency is fast-tracking plans to build a nuclear reactor on the moon. Documents obtained by Politico reveal NASA will solicit proposals for a 100-kilowatt nuclear reactor that would launch to the lunar surface by 2030.
And we're going back to the moon in order to learn to live, to work, to survive.
NASA has made returning to the moon and establishing a lasting human presence there a top priority. Power is key to building bases, supporting crews, and staying long-term. And with 14 days of darkness on the moon each month, solar power won't cut it. So the race is on to be the first to bring power to the moon. The directive warning, if other countries manage to build a reactor first, they could declare a keep-out zone, which would significantly inhibit the United States. China and Russia currently have a joint plan to bring a reactor to the moon by 2035. A senior NASA official saying it is about winning the second space race. The UK is already working on its own lunar reactor, partnering with Rolls-Royce to build a miniaturized system that could support humans on the moon.
It's a very small reactor that we can absolutely launch into space, so it's about the size of a car, and it allows us to give continuous energy and electricity. When you've got the sun, you can use solar, but if you want to explore the dark side of the moon and go around the other side, actually you're going to need something else, so the nuclear power allows you to do that.
NASA is looking to get industry input on its reactor plan in the coming weeks.
So, what do y'all think about that?
I thought we lost the technology to go back to the moon.
Yeah, they've been kicking it down the road every single administration since the 1970s. And I mean, it makes sense if everybody's terrified of nuclear this, nuclear that here on Earth, that they supposedly send it to the one place that it won't bother us, but close enough that we can... Wait, that's the question. What are they going to do with a nuclear reactor on the moon? Like, what... It's just like, what does it help? What are they going to run cables from the moon to Earth? I mean, is it just the concept of experimenting with,
It's supposed to be supplying power for the moon base that they're
yeah,
build. Okay. The moon base. And then, of course, we could have a nuclear meltdown on the moon and screw up everything on the moon. That's assuming that we can get there. And
And
then,
it's a solid object.
yeah,
People said it's luminescent. What's the right word? Where you could see through it.
luminescent.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing too is that they were the report talked about safe territory. This is kind of like nobody's supposed to own anything on the moon. No property or anything. No country can claim anything on the moon. But if you set up a nuclear reactor, you can set up a safe zone, which is kind of like setting up a country, right? And so we got to get there first so we can plot out where we want to be.
So we're plotting the way for lunar capitalism, everybody. Lunar capitalists in the building.
Right.
We got to get up there so we can sell rocks to other people on the rock, right? Yeah, man, that's pretty crazy.
What was that one show that was on Apple Plus? That's what it kind of reminds me of.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Man on the Moon?
No, it was
for all mankind as well.
For All Mankind. Yeah, that's it. For All Mankind.
It's a very interesting show. You should check it out.
It's For All Mankind is talking about how the Russians got there first before we did.
It's like an alternate reality.
Right. And how we set up bases up there in the military and all that kind of stuff. It was really interesting. And I think they might even be adding new seasons. So I haven't looked recently. But okay, so for the next story, let's talk about Easter Island.
To the remote Easter Island, famous for its massive stone statues carved so many centuries ago. Well, now archaeologists are excited about a brand new find, just as we prepare to broadcast from this land of wonder. This morning, a first look at a stunning discovery on Easter Island, one of the most remote inhabited islands in the world. A new moai, a large stone statue carved from volcanic rock, was discovered this week, marking an archaeological milestone.
There have been no moai that are found in the dry bed or in what was previously a lake, so this is a first.
For the Rapa Nui people, it's very, very important to discover this one because it's in here in the lake and nobody knows.
More than 2,000 miles west of Chile, the moai, found after the lake Rano Raraku, dried up over the last 2 years. The moai are what brought fame to Easter Island and have deep significance to the indigenous Rapa Nui people.
They represent the deified ancestors of today's islanders. They're part of a Polynesian tradition of honoring your ancestors.
These iconic statues were carved 8 centuries ago by the native islanders, and while the total number is not known, more than 961 have been cataloged so far. It is so cool that our producers who are there got the first and only look at this. Don't miss Michael on GMA. He will be there this week, straight from Easter Island, starting on Tuesday. I am obviously fascinated and hope you are too.
So, another statue discovered in what used to be a lake. And because of climate change or what have you, that lake has evaporated. And now they found in the middle of the lake one of those statues buried.
You know, they have ground penetrating radar. Why don't they just use that and find all the heads?
They can't really do it in a lake, but now they can. But there's a lot of brush there too. You know,
You
the
can
lake
do
was
it
there.
via boat. You can have one of those little water things, and it has a ground penetrating radar.
Yeah, but did you see all that brush and everything that's there?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I think the people on that island just got real creative with their tombstones. And like today, you go to a town in backwoods Kentucky, and you'll find a bunch of Shriner obelisks. And a couple hundred years in the future, if they found that in a big pile of dirt, somebody would be like, "Oh wow, I wonder how many of these collectible poles there are out there." But it's I wonder what it is. It's one of those great mysteries. I always love the memes showing the heads of the dum-dums, from Night at the Museum, but it's very cool. They found another one.
Yes, another one, and they may end up finding a whole bunch more as more of the island becomes accessible, so to speak.
I feel like the more they find, the less cool the other ones become.
Well, there are a lot of them already.
It's all about supply and demand. Supply and demand.
Right. So let's take a look at, with all the floods that have been happening lately, and the very tragic flood down in Texas in the Hill Country. In the cleanup efforts, they have discovered something. So let's take a listen.
A month after floods swept through central Texas, cleanup efforts continue in Sandy Creek.
As residents sift through debris, a piece of prehistoric history was uncovered. KVU's Brianna Perez takes a closer look at the dinosaur fossil that was found and what experts had to say.
As cleanup continues in Sandy Creek, a piece of history was uncovered.
So whenever there's any kind of cataclysmic event, floods, things that are very destructive to our human experience, they also are uncovering a lot of new fossils.
Matthew Brown, paleontologist at UT Austin, says he was called out to take a closer look.
Along Sandy Creek are these three-toed bird-like tracks.
Paleontologists came out here to the Sandy Creek area to take a look at the newly uncovered fossils for themselves. And when they got here, they say that they were actually located on private property, making it hard to see. They say that they were covered in vegetation, but once that flood came through, it exposed the new track.
So we think that this probably came from a dinosaur like Acrocanthosaurus, which was a big meat-eating theropod dinosaur. So it walked on two legs. It superficially would have looked kind of like a Tyrannosaurus rex, even though those two species lived about 40 million years apart.
Brown says this dinosaur lived more than 115 million years ago. And around that time, it was not uncommon to see a handful of different species of dinosaurs in central Texas, including big plant eaters like sauropods.
So to be able to see the footprints, this track in the ground, on the site where these dinosaurs were actually walking, really sort of brings home the reality that these were living creatures that would have been, if we lived 115 million years ago, would have been sharing the environment with us.
He says next they plan to use drones for aerial photography and laser surface scanners to create 3D replicas to study the area. Brown advises anyone who comes across a fossil during the flood cleanup to take a photo and email it to experts so they can examine it later without damaging the discovery. Reporting in Sandy Creek, Brianna Bettis, KVU News.
Well, it's like Glen Rose. It's like, Texas, but Charlie jumped up here. I don't know how I feel about dinosaurs, especially after,
There's one on your desk.
Yeah, especially after being at the Smithsonian and they had the dinosaur bones and most of them are recreations. It kind of like, I don't know, it's harder to believe in. And I think that they had feathers. And I think that Steven Spielberg is the one that made them into like reptile animals. But if you look at an ostrich, they look very similar to what like a dinosaur skeleton looks like.
Yeah. I mean, I always think it's funny when they throw out multiple sets of millions of years. And then I think to myself, if they were off by even a million years of the 100 million years they mentioned, they'd be wrong by millions of years. So it's just like, I highly suggest people look into the work of Aaron Judkins, Joe Taylor, talking about Ken Ham and the Dr. Dino stuff. I really think there's Kent Hovind is a good option too. But there's actually the guys that molded the dinosaur print in the Paluxy River there in Texas. Anyways, I got to go to Joe Taylor's museum a while back, and he's just this prolific archaeologist type guy. He passed away recently, but I helped him with a video a long time ago because his museum its ceiling had collapsed in with water damage, and I made like a fundraising video for Joe because I really liked him. But he was a super sweet, like old artist guy from the 1970s Jesus Revolution, and he would do these massive paintings and professional billboards and stuff. But his daytime job was an archaeologist who would run this museum, and the Mount Blanco Fossil Museum, I believe is what it's called. But yeah, man, it's interesting. I always look at these disasters as possible opportunities to hear of like unknown treasure being discovered. And I think that's what this reminds me of, because I was thinking the same thing when we heard the disaster that happened over in North Carolina. I was like, man, as they're searching through looking for people, I wonder if they're going to find any kind of ancient, buried treasure in a cave somewhere. Not to lessen the tragedy that brings the attention, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting for them to get some of that DNA and make some of them dinosaurs and open up the park so we can go out and take a look at them.
And then get eaten by them.
Well, yeah, I guess they get hungry like everybody else.
They're just big birds.
Just make sure the fence is still on, everybody.
That's right. Okay, so the last little clip I have here has to do with AI and Disney. So let's take a look. Oops, here we go.
What were they thinking? Disney was about to rely on AI for their two biggest movies, and it's so controversial. 2 years ago, a live-action Moana movie was announced with The Rock playing his character again, Maui. Maui, a demigod, sort of has a unattainable physique, even for The Rock. So instead of having a bodysuit or adding muscles with CG, Disney was about to have a body double act out Maui's movements and then use an AI deepfake of The Rock to put his face on the body. As crazy and dumb as this plan is, the craziest part is The Rock agreed to it. That deepfake Moana plan was going to happen until Disney got cold feet because of copyright and data privacy concerns. The body double would have put on a great performance, and his face and voice would have been painted over with Dwayne The Rock Johnson taking all the credit for the performance. Not only were they thinking about using AI in Moana, they were also going to use it in the Tron movie. Disney wanted to have an AI-generated sidekick character for Jeff Bridges' character. Their idea was to put that in the movie for a marketing idea. They hoped that audiences would connect with AI representation on screen. The fact that Disney was about to use AI in two of its biggest movies has me so scared for the future.
So, basically, Disney pulled out mainly because their lawyers said, hey, anytime you use AI, there's no guarantee that you've got any kind of protection on it, because you can't really say you own it, as far as AI is concerned. And the interesting thing about the person that they were going to use as a body double for The Rock for the movie, it was his nephew, who is a much bigger, muscular man than The Rock was. So it would have been a lot more interesting as far as being more like the movie, the cartoon, I'm sorry. So what do you think?
I think they're using AI anyways.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah, I was going to say too. The other thing too is that they also worry. The legal staff worries about, of course, the writers and the actors too, as far as the use of AI and the past contract negotiations and everything else. And then, of course, Disney is very, very protective of their intellectual property, their IP. And it would be kind of, I mean, if they do AI on there, it kind of like, gee.
Well, they better put a chick in it and make it gay. That's what Disney should do, because that's what they're good at. And they should make the Hawaiian a white guy and, or a black guy, do what they're good at.
Well, they've got a lawsuit going on now with a company that has been, scraping the internet and creating a lot of AI content from a lot of the Disney, Universal, Fox, a bunch of other ones. And so Universal, Fox, and Disney all joined together, and they're suing this company for and trying to get them to stop stealing some of their AI off of the internet and creating it. But then again, if Disney does that, they're trying to protect their AI just like Universal and Fox. But hey, if they do it, if they put their own AI out, isn't that kind of like conflict?
Yeah.
What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I think the strikes in Hollywood over the past few years have been a lot about this AI controversy of copyright and workers getting paid fair share for being involved, all the unions that were striking, slowing down movie production over the past few years. AI was one of the focuses of that. And honestly, I partially didn't believe it. I'm like, The Rock is constantly, obsessed with working on his, muscles, and, you're telling me he'd be okay with not flaunting that for one movie finally?
Well, his nephew is really built. But another point is that Disney, because of their legal team, has decided not to do it, even though they filmed a lot of it already. They're going to have to refilm it again and just use The Rock. And Tron hadn't been in production yet, so they've just decided they're not going to do it on Tron. So,
yeah.
Okay, so that's all I got, guys.
That was great. Thanks, Sopa.
Yeah, so we got a couple calls. Do you want me to play those, or do you want me to save them? You want me to play them?
Oh, sorry, you were breaking up there for a moment on my end. Yeah, let's hit these calls. Some people left us some messages,
Skiba
guys.
News
Let's check it out.
Nation, this is Gary Lynn, and I just wanted to let you know that I think you guys are doing an outstanding job. The more shows you do, the better you get. And I want to let Opa know that I think his Opa's Corner has really gotten better and better with age. And I also love it that he's putting more interesting and amazing information out, more than he did at the beginning. And for Jake the newsman, Jake, you are the newsman. Always with current news that I'm concerned about. You seem to have the ability to pull up everything that I'm curious about and give me a better view of what's going on. And of course, your memes are always funny and timely. And to my Jeremiah, your history's mysteries are always really thought-provoking. Make me take a better look at subjects that I had forgotten about. And I see it in a new light. And also, I wanted to tell you that I love the fact that Lindsay is on more shows with you guys, because it makes me think of Rob and Sheila. And I really love that, to see the family carry on. I like to see the family of Skiba to continue on. And also, I just wanted to tell you guys that I love you very much. and that my scrapbook is coming along pretty good. I'll probably send you pictures when I get some pictures put together. Like I made a real cool homemade scrapbook, and it's got all your postcards in it, which I miss. I miss getting postcards. But thank you for the ones I just got. You're up on my wall. I rotate things off the Skiba wall to the scrapbook as they come in. And I just wanted to tell you I love you. And I miss you, and I wish I was going to be at TruthorCon, but if you guys could televise that, have like a live stream, I would sure pay for that. Since my daughter and I discussed that my health isn't good enough that I can make it. And I can't fly with oxygen, so anyway, have a great show next week. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Now Gary's awesome. She's a Patreon and she's making a really cool book, I guess, of all the postcards, because we send out postcards once a month. And I'd love to see it. I can't wait to see it. But we love you back, Gary. So
thank you.
This one has a question. This next one has a question in it. So,
hey, Jeremiah and Jake. This is Yvette Palacios from YouTube. You guys do a really great job. I really enjoy your videos, all your topics. Jeremiah, you're so funny. Keep it going. All right. And congratulations again, Jake. And hi, Opa. I love your funnies too. Keep it up. So, hey guys, keep it going. And it's just the beginning of something new, something great. And I'm really excited to see what God has in store for you guys. One last thing. I have something on my mind that you might want to just, think about. I mean, you don't have to, talk about it online or anything on the video. But I've noticed that there's been like flooding after flooding after flooding all around the United States, all around the world. I've never seen anything like it before in my entire life, in my 62 years on this earth. Flooding after flooding. I'm wondering if something is going on with the rain and how they seed it. The weather patterns, there's a term for that, how they change the weather patterns. And I'm wondering if something's going on in the environment that's causing all this flooding. It's really bizarre. So anyway, just something to chew on. Okay. Oh, and give your kitties a big old hug from me and Charlie. And I have a kitty named Gracie. She sends her meowy love. All right, guys. Take it easy. Have a great day. Bye.
So if you guys want to call into our Skiba News Nation hotline, leave a question, a comment, or whatever, to 214-617-3330. And we'll play them here on the show. Or if you just want to say something to us, just even if it's hate, hey, we'll listen to it. So, yeah, those were our two calls, and I thought that they were really sweet. So thank you guys for calling.
Yeah, thank you for your messages. We have some really interesting news clips this week, but just because when we first started we didn't have as many people's attention, let's make that special announcement one more time, Jeremiah. Who's coming to TruthorCon?
Bryson Gray. He's going to be performing. It's going to be epic. It's going to be so epic.
Hey, that's cool. So definitely one of those controversial figures online dropping truth bombs, and so I think it's going to be super epic to have them there. And let's get into some news clips. Check this out. A woman approximately 30 years old was rescued from a chimney after police received multiple reports of a dancing female on a roof. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. What is she doing going down the chimney? But breaking news, astronaut Jim Lovell, famed for leading the Apollo 13 mission safely back to Earth after life-threatening explosion, dies at 97, according to a family statement. Okay, so I remember this because one of the most traumatizing movies of my childhood was Apollo 13. I knew more about Apollo 13 than Apollo 11 because my dad would play it on repeat all the time.
Whoa. Hey.
Here comes that famous line, everybody.
Say again, please. Houston, we have a problem.
Oh, there it is.
You know, one day, part of that was filmed in Disney World when it was called Hollywood Studio or MGM Studios, and we went into the MGM Studios and their backlot tour, and they took us through the studios so that we could see, and they had a lunar module set up, and Tom Cruise was there and was walking around on this movie set that was set up to look like the moon. So that was kind of interesting.
Filmed in a Hollywood basement. Speaking of Hollywood, Gina Carano recently thanked Elon Musk for funding her lawsuit with Disney, basically for being let go for conservative statements several years ago. So she's heartfelt thanking Elon Musk, and apparently she's in talks with Disney about getting back into the Star Wars films, possibly. You know, it opens the door for it. But I remember this being one of the first, like, really big public conservative people who were canceled from a Star Wars project. I hope this brings some healing to the Force.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic because Pedro Pascal, the guy who's in everything and played the Mandalorian, he's like, I don't know if you've seen all the videos of him like touching women,
yeah,
like being really weird, but he's allowed to do that, but she can't make one tweet or one post about her opinions. So crazy.
Yeah, I think it's a really good illustration of like the backwards ethics of kind of Hollywood in general, I guess. But now that we have the Trump train not stopping, we have a lot of conservative pushback and a lot of backpedaling in some of the agendas that we've seen so heavily, especially during Biden's administration. But hey, here's this clip. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if this is AI, but if it's not AI, man, this is some good old American farm boy, feats of strength here. Check this out. Testing out the farm equipment. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think that was real?
Man, I don't trust my hands enough to stay that firm, that whole time. Like, I would need like a back brace or something to stay up there, but
that's an awful big drone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's hilarious. It's like instant death if he falls, but oh man, just
At least he died doing what he loved.
That's right.
Hanging from a drone.
Now I bring this next gravity defying feat clip because if the one we just watched was AI generated, I wanted to make sure you guys saw something in recent news that happened just as gravity defying, so to speak. If gravity is really a thing. Check this out. This is Dylan Devitt, a 360 nothing flip.
I don't know why.
He almost lost his bike.
That just makes me angry. I don't know why.
Wow. I think when it comes to the evolution of human sport expertise, I think seeing extreme sports get crazier and crazier each generation to me is just so heartwarming because it's like, this is literally superhero, death-defying, crazy, like acrobatics and stuff. And man, to think like that guy just did something like out of a superhero movie, but just nonchalantly on his bike in a backyard, right?
Yeah, I will say one thing that really I felt starstruck when I saw it, and I don't know why it was in the Space Museum at the Smithsonian, but it was Evel Knievel's motorcycle. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the motorcycle where he did all those jumps in and almost died every time he jumped. It's crazy.
That's awesome. Now, in previous live streams and in our episodes, we've covered Palantir. Now, do you remember what Palantir is from the Lord of the Rings movies, guys?
I don't think I've ever seen Lord of the Rings.
Well,
I know that's blasphemy, but
yeah, we're gonna have to set up a time where everybody put it up on a big screen or something, watch the extended cuts, just so that we can point out the Palantir, which is the all-seeing eyeball that allows the bad guys to see all around and spy. And this is Peter Thiel, who is being interviewed. We showed part of this interview. It got really weird. He started talking about esoteric and religious thought patterns, and he's the one in charge of this thing that's very likely tied to the possible Mark of the Beast scenario. But anyways, this is a comedy sketch of Peter Thiel's assistant during that recent New York Times interview as he was talking about the conspiracies around AI.
Peter, you've been doing great so far. Just some layup questions ahead, and let's bring this home.
I think you would prefer the human race to endure, right?
No way.
You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes.
I don't know. I would.
Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in this.
Should the human race survive?
Yes. The only answer is yes.
Yes.
Great.
But
fuck.
I also would like us to radically solve these problems.
Right.
And so
what is he talking about?
Yeah, transhumanism. Human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body. And there's a critique of, let's say, the trans people in a sexual context, or a transvestite is someone who changes their clothes and cross-dresses. We want more than cross-dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind, your whole body, and then Orthodox Christianity.
All right, Peter, you've been doing great so far. Just some layup questions ahead,
that's
and let's bring this
hilarious.
home.
So just to continue on, what is Palantir? Some of the best ways to figure that out is to look at current kind of economic reporting on the possible investment opportunity, right? So check this out.
What Palantir does is it allows AI to be useful for companies.
Tell us more about what Palantir does as a company exactly.
So this is where, Lacey, I was getting into the fact that it is a hard company necessarily to understand.
Got a weird face.
I think one of the easiest ways for me to talk about this is to talk about this in terms of their relevance with what's going on with AI. Okay, so all of us here are familiar with the concept of a large language model, and that's what a lot of businesses are using to run AI applications. LLMs, as they're known, are somewhat commoditized in that regard, and what Palantir offers, they do have their own proprietary LLM. Okay, let's just say that, but they also offer platforms such as their Foundry and Gotham, which provide the infrastructure that allow LLMs to work to give businesses meaningful insights to make their decisions.
You merely adopted the AI. I was born in it. They named it Gotham.
From being just kind of a box that a company checks and says, yes, we have AI functionality, but it doesn't really do much, to something where AI is giving these companies meaningful data that drives the solutions. A good analogy, Lacey, that I heard, this isn't mine, so I can't take credit for it. Actually, I'll give credit to, I think her name is Haley Ike, who does a podcast basically exclusively about Palantir. So if you think about LLMs are kind of like a car. And what Palantir is doing with Foundry and Gotham and such is designing the bridges and the roads that the car can run on to make the car actually kind of useful. And that's what Alex Karp uses that word a lot in terms of saying what Palantir does is it allows AI to be useful for companies, and they're certainly figuring that out. And again, to all investors out there, I just gave you a 5-minute layman's description of this. You need to do your own due diligence.
It is late on a Thursday evening. Most of Wall Street has logged off for the day, analysts have closed their laptops, and traders are heading out for dinner. But right then, the United States Army drops a massive update that shakes up the entire defense tech space. They unveil a newly structured agreement with Palantir Technologies, one that could be worth up to $10 billion spread out over the next 10 years.
Pay
This is
attention
not
here.
just any update. This is the kind of announcement that makes people sit up in their chairs, grab a pen, and start doing some very fast math. Now, before you picture Palantir executives high-fiving each other in a conference room, there is an important detail you need to know. Just because the Army laid out this long-term agreement does not mean they are committed to spending all of that money. The Army is saying, we may be buying a lot of software from you over time, but we are not writing the check just yet. That being said, the mere size and scope of this agreement are what make it so interesting. Let me break down what actually changed. The Army's basically cleaning up its house. They took 75 separate contracts, including 15 main ones and 60 smaller supporting ones, and folded them all into a single streamlined agreement with Palantir.
Boom. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Everybody just open your ears up and hear what they're saying. They are packaging over 60, 50, like a bunch of separate agreements with all these different industry or different suppliers of softwares or whatever. And they're giving it all to Palantir. So now Palantir will basically be the Skynet of the U.S. government.
This is a big deal. Instead of managing dozens of scattered deals, the Army now has one centralized agreement. That means fewer headaches, less paperwork, and faster turnaround when it comes to getting software into the hands of soldiers.
And more doomsday possibilities, allegedly.
Discounts. In simpler terms, the more the Army decides to buy, the cheaper each purchase becomes. Plus, by eliminating reseller fees and middlemen, they are cutting out the extra costs that usually slow things down and bloat the budget. In their own words, the Army said this will speed up how quickly they can deliver powerful commercial software to troops on the ground. And we are not talking about basic tools, we are talking about advanced data integration platforms, complex analytics systems, and artificial intelligence that can process and act on battlefield data in real time. Now, even with all this buzz, Palantir stock slipped by 1.7%, falling to $155.70 during. But Ives did not stop there. He believes this deal puts even more wind in Palantir's sails, especially as the government ramps up its artificial intelligence programs. He hinted that we are likely to hear more details about this deal, and possibly some very strong results tied to artificial intelligence, when Palantir delivers its earnings report after markets close on Monday. In a follow-up email, Ives clarified that this agreement is not a guarantee of of sales, but it definitely positions Palantir to win a much bigger slice of the pie in the coming years. Speaking of that earnings report, mark your calendars because it is happening on August 4th after the closing bell. Palantir is walking into this earnings season with some serious momentum. Just one day before the news dropped, Palantir stock hit a brand new all-time high during intraday trading, climbing to $160.89. Although the shares pulled back after that, it is still a major milestone that shows just how much enthusiasm investors have built up, and honestly, they have every reason to be excited. So far in 2025, Palantir's stock has climbed by about 109%. That makes it the top performing stock on the entire Standard & Poor's 500 index, and it is not the first time either because Palantir also led the pack last year. Now here's what Wall Street is expecting when the numbers come in. Analysts believe the company will report a 54% increase in earnings, hitting 14 cents per share. Revenue is expected to jump 38%, reaching $939.3 million. That is no small feat, especially in a year when many companies are still navigating uncertain terrain. Let's break it down even more. Palantir's government business is forecasted to grow by 38%, bringing in $513 million. On the commercial side, analysts are predicting another 38% boost, which would add up to $425 million. So while the government side is clearly still dominant, the commercial business is definitely holding its own. Everyone will be tuning in to hear what Palantir's leadership has to say about future government spending and a certain initiative that has been quietly getting more attention. It is called the Golden Dome Space Defense Program. If Palantir is tapped to play a bigger role in that, it could be another major catalyst for the company's long-term growth. Looking back, Palantir has built its reputation by supplying top-tier data tools to government agencies involved in intelligence. Is more than just a government contract. It is about a company that is evolving, expanding, and pushing into new frontiers. Whether you are already holding Palantir stock or delivery to soldiers. Although the Army is not obligated to make additional purchases, the move is seen as a major opportunity for Palantir. Despite a 1.7% drop in stock due to broader market concerns, analysts remain optimistic.
So this little tweet here from Dr. Kareem said, Silicon Valley doesn't predict the future. It picks the one it wants and then pours billions of dollars into making it happen. So when they say AI will replace us, that's not a helpful warning. It's their business plan.
It's crazy.
Yep.
So, we can see that the torch is being handed to a company named Palantir, and that's pretty much all we can really comprehend at this point. And I'm sure we'll reap the repercussions in the near future. But
it's everywhere.
Now, in relation to this, to me, I think it directly correlates, which is how immigration, deportation, and all the different things with ICE are ramping up. And unfortunately, you're having American citizens who are not immigrants, illegal immigrants, being arrested and detained by ICE. And this is corresponding to some recent job offerings for people to be able to join ICE much younger. And they're, we're seeing things like this.
Get off me! Get off! Your knee is off your fucking head! Get
Obviously,
Get off her head!
these ladies were probably,
Property, sir.
being difficult proving that they were citizens, but the fact that they can arrest people that are citizens like this.
Sir, you okay? Yeah, my keys are in there.
Due process, I feel like, is being skipped, and when due process isn't an actual thing anymore, that's a big deal.
You guys are on the wrong side of history. You're going to be in history books.
All right, so anyways, tying to this, Homeland Security removes age limits for ICE recruits to boost hiring to help the deportations. So that was recently released. And also, there's been a lot in the news of President Trump and his signed directives for the Pentagon to use military force against foreign drug cartels. So we're having a whole lot that's happening when it comes to border security. But in a way, as military
life.
capabilities increase,
NASA and the-
that's why it becomes a more and more important topic to pay attention to. Immigration in relation to AI and come and go, that's a big deal. And I think the TSA, so to speak, in the future, when it's got an AI guy behind that uniform, it's going to be pretty crazy. There's so much that is being focused recently on this extraterrestrial object that's coming into our solar system, so to speak. And what's interesting is the particular dates that they call out. They say that the object is supposedly going to be closest to Earth on late October, and then they also are going to possibly try to fly a satellite or something into it from Saturn, and that's going to happen in March. But honestly, it's just
Possibly be
a lot of
alien
excitement.
Technology.
Many characteristics of this object are not typical. The trajectory is fine-tuned. It's too big to be a rock. And moreover, it has glow in front of it instead of a tail behind it, like a comet looks.
A new telescope built to track fast-moving space objects in Chile has caught a comet from beyond the solar system moving across the sky. The Rubin Observatory captured the rare footage of the comet known as 31 Atlas 10 days before the comet was officially identified by NASA. The object will come closest to our sun around October 30, moving to within 130 million miles of the star and just within the orbit of Mars. It's then expected to leave the solar system.
Do we have the capabilities right now to track, intercept, and even respond to something non-human entering our solar system as soon as October?
Do you think he knows?
Well, it will be moving relative to Earth at nearly 100 kilometers per second when it's closest to the sun. Simply because it moves in the opposite direction to the motion of the Earth. There is no way for us to send a rocket that will intercept with it from Earth. However, I wrote a paper last week that there is actually a spacecraft that is orbiting Jupiter. It's called Juno, and it's at the end of its life. The plan was to send it straight into Jupiter in September 2025 because the mission has ended. But what I realized is that if instead of giving it a push so that it ends its life inside Jupiter, you give it a push away from Jupiter, if the push is sufficient, then it will actually intercept the orbit of 3I Atlas, this new object. If the push is sufficient, then it will actually intercept the orbit of 3I Atlas, this new object, in March 2026, when it will come very close to Jupiter. And she is opposed to the U.S. military.
All right, so interesting. The two dates, it's going to be closest apparently in October and then intercepted in March. But yeah, I think just all of the alien bells and whistles that are being tied to that story is what's catching my attention. And then you see this guy suggesting they fly things into it and whatnot. Something definitely that is getting around.
Yep.
Lately, matter of last couple of days, I've been thinking about all these movies that we see with all of these aliens, squid-looking things, and I don't know, just all these different shapes and sizes like you see in Star Wars and Star Trek and Alien and all this other stuff. And I got to thinking, in order for an alien race to build spaceships and take them out and everything, you got to have hands like ours. Okay? You got to have some digits to be able to build things. You got to have arms. You got to have, long arms to be able to get and build things. And so some of these aliens that we come up with are no way they can build anything. What do you think?
Like Squidward, like
yeah,
long tentacles.
Long tentacles, or these monster-looking things like an alien, where he gets on the ship and moves around. You know, those things can't exist. I think all the aliens have got to be pretty much like us. They may have bigger heads or smaller heads, or but they've got to have eyes. They've got to have hands. They've got to have arms.
Like this?
Yeah.
Hey, that's the guy Aleister Crowley made out with in the desert, like back in the 1900s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, it obviously propaganda. The alien topic is used by a lot of people, and I don't think anything that shows up, we should buy what they're selling, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
Well,
conducting operations in her country targeting drug cartels. Now, the comments were made in response to reports confirmed by U.S. officials.
Weaponry that looks like what terrorists, in some cases armies have. They control territory in many cases. Those cartels extend from the Maduro regime in Venezuela, which is not a legitimate government. We don't recognize the Maduro regime as legitimate. It is a criminal enterprise, all the way to the various different cartels that operate in Mexico. And in between, you find them in Ecuador, you find them in Guatemala, you find TDA, what people would call street gangs, but actually are operating as criminal enterprises.
I want you to look at the contraband that's in front of me.
They're now officially in the Pentagon's crosshairs. And it's not just the wall anymore. Trump ordered the kill shot. The days of local drug busts and random motels, they were fun, but that's Breaking Bad stuff. Trump wants to take the fight to El Chapo's front yard.
We're talking about sending military forces to fight against the drug cartels in Latin America. Do you think it's worth sending our forces, our U.S. forces there to take this on?
Cartels where?
Central Latin America.
Well, Latin America's got a lot of cartels. They've got a lot of drugs flowing. So, we want to protect our country. We have to protect our country. We haven't been doing it for 4 years. And we love this country like they love their countries. We have to protect our country. So, we're playing a tough game.
According to the New York Times, behind the scenes, Trump's moving all the pieces into place to pull this off. Mexico's got a big problemo.
Mexico's got a big problemo.
Problemos.
Poblenos. Big problemo peppers. Pobleno. Okay. Well, this last story, I think, is pretty interesting. It's let me just see here. There was a CDC shooter who was possibly motivated by hatred for adverse effects from the you-know-what. So check this out.
The booming sound of multiple gunshots captured in this video, terrifying witnesses. Then authorities rushing to the scene of a reported active shooter near Emory University in Atlanta Friday. Police believe the target was the headquarters of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, where multiple windows were shattered by bullets. One CDC employee says he was sitting in his car when he saw the shooter approach the building.
He raised the rifle sort of at an angle and started firing into CDC's campus.
Then the employee called 911.
The CDC campus did receive multiple rounds into their buildings.
Authorities say DeKalb County police officer David Rose was killed by the gunman.
He gave his life with a commitment to serve others.
The shooter was found dead inside a CVS store across the street. Police have identified him as Patrick Joseph White. Authorities believe he may have targeted the CDC over personal health concerns that he blamed on the COVID-19 vaccine. The CDC is one of the world's
Sorry, we were
leading
trying
health
to
agencies,
censor that, y'all.
but it has been forced to make steep cuts during the second Trump administration.
The fact that this may have occurred because of the dangerous lies being spread about vaccines.
Okay, so we're going to cut that short now because obviously they're saying a no-no word a little bit too much. And because the WHO still controls the internet, let's just discuss what happened. So that shooter showed up and, you know, I don't know. Like, what do you guys think?
So he was trying to target people from the CDC. Is that
so? Because he was motivated by hatred of the beep, he showed up and shot up the CDC campus.
Yeah, I don't think violence is the answer, but you know, I don't know. I'd like to see his manifesto and why he actually did it.
Yeah, exactly. I think jumping to conclusions and hearing this lady right off the bat say dangerous misinformation and conspiracies about beeps, you know, that to me makes me think this could be a false flag type thing where they use the fact that this guy, you know, went and did this atrocious thing to then cast a bad light on people that are speaking truth about the adverse experimental, you know what, that was given to so many people.
Yeah, for sure. Make us all seem like we're crazy, you know?
Yep.
Can't talk about that. You can't talk about that. You're just like the shooter.
Well, that's all the news for this week, guys. Hey, everybody watching, drop a like for the video. We have another reminder of a special announcement. You want to share that one more time?
Huge is coming. We're building the world's largest truther convention. It's called TrutherCon.
This is the place where truthers unite to explore knowledge, ask tough questions, to challenge the mainstream narrative.
But it isn't just a convention. It's a movement for free thought, open discussion, and the right to question everything.
We are bringing in some of the biggest names of the truther community, so expect deep discussions, mind-blowing revelations, and connections with like-minded truth seekers.
If you feel like the truth is being hidden from you, this is where you need to be.
And the best part, it's 100% grassroots, built by truthers for truthers, straight from our Skiba News Nation family. TrutherCon will be a massive networking event. I believe this is going to be the most exciting truther event ever.
October 2025 in Dallas, Texas. We hope to see you there. Gonna be epic, dude. It's gonna be pretty epic.
Oh yeah, yep. I'm super stoked, guys. Make sure to get your tickets early, so you can save money if you're wanting to go.
Forget how many days. I think it's. I don't know that there might be a clock now on the website that shows how long until the prices go up. But yeah, man, it's looking like it's gonna be pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for watching. That's all I got. Anything else tonight?
No. Thank you guys for being here, and join us Friday 4:44 PM CST, and then every Sunday at 7 PM. And yeah, come hang out with us. We love talking with you guys and reading your comments. And give us a call 214-617-3330, and we'll play it on the show. So.
All right, guys. See you, everybody.
Love y'all.
Bye.